Hi, everybody. It's Jody. Thinking about a lot of things. I always start that way because that's where I am. And I believe that where I am in the process of becoming more authentic in my ability as a coach and a speaker is getting to the point where it's less about thinking these days and more about feeling. The being of me is becoming more clear to me than the thinking of me would have allowed in the past, I'll say, couple months. Now, a lot has been going on in the world. We know this. I always put a timestamp on when I talk about things, and it's June 8th, 2020 right now. This is an unbelievable time in history, and so much has happened in the last 2 months. I'm now completing my first round in a marketing course, which is the reason I've been doing all of these videos and getting real about who I am. This process has been revealing. It's been cathartic. It's been difficult. It's been freeing. And while I guess the surface reason for doing this was to get some more coaching clients, figure out how I might be able to market my services, it's really become a much bigger, deeper, more expansive process than I ever would have imagined. And it kind of started for me, I can look back because hindsight's always 2020. When I decided in 2018 that I am committed to seeing the world through the eyes of love and not through the eyes of fear. And since I said that in 2018, I've had all kinds of opportunities to test that belief. And what I really, really believe deep down, without being afraid to say it anymore, is that love is at the core of my ideals. I'm going to assume that love is at the core of our ideals as human beings, but it's not always at the core of our policies. And it's not always the way we run our businesses and our governments and our schools, and even in some cases our churches. Those are the big four I talk about. The way we can make the biggest difference in the world is in one of those four areas, maybe more than one. I'm always drawn to business. And so I think about policies and how they're created. They're not created out of love, they're created out of fear. And we don't know this. We just do this because it's the way we've always done things. And right now in our businesses, I'll say businesses because that's where I'm drawn. And as a coach, I want to work with people who are working in businesses. I would love to work with leaders inside those businesses. And I think what is available to us right now in this, I don't know, I keep saying unprecedented. I wish I could think of a new word to say. But in this time we find ourselves of COVID and now the racial unrest and the things that are happening is going to be a transformation, I believe. And I think it has to be a transformation. I don't think we can go back to the way things were as much as we want to. And we need leaders right now to preside over transformation, not those who want to go back to the way it was. And so in transformation, there are going to be those leaders who allow that process to happen because they can at least see the vision of how it could be on the other side, not those who are holding the lid down to keep people compliant. And I know our businesses sometimes might feel that way for people because the unknown is scary. But the scary unknown, in my opinion, is much more transformational than the known compliant environment where many leaders who lead out of fear would like to believe it could be. It could be that way. I just don't see that we can go back to that. Once your mind is expanded by a new thought, it can't regain its original dimension. Oliver Wendell Holmes. And if that's true, we're in a time right now where we can't go back. It's not about thinking anymore. It's about being really in touch with how you want to feel when you achieve your goals, or when you connect with somebody else, or when your business is doing well, or when your family is thriving. How do you want to feel? And we've put that on the back burner for so long that these feelings are popping up in all kinds of inopportune ways right now. This is a moral moment in history of not only our government and politics and all that kind of stuff, but our homes and our families and our communities and our workplaces. Will we become more loving, even in our laws and rules? Or will we put the thumb down and the hammer down and make sure that we can whack those moles that keep popping up? I keep going back to the whack-a-mole philosophy, but where's the biggest opportunity leaders have right now to preside over or lead the transformation? This is something none of us knows. This is a bridge that needs to be built to an unknown future. Yet right now in this messiness we find ourselves, if we have enough visionaries who can get together and have conversations about things that matter, that bridge can be built even as we walk on it. It can, it's a possibility. And I'm looking now at opportunities I've had in my life, in my past, to be that bridge, but fear has been too prevalent. I tried to speak my mind inside corporations and organizations, but I only tried hard enough to say I tried. Because as soon as it got hard, I stopped. I didn't stand for what I really believed in because I didn't see the possibility of it, and I felt like I was doing it by myself. And building the bridge as you walk on it is lonely. And I didn't really allow myself to be a voice that would attract other people to walk on the bridge with me, because as soon as it got hard, I stopped talking. That's the difference I see between trying to do something and actually standing for the vision and the possibility in spite of all of the roadblocks and obstacles. I didn't do that. I haven't done that in my corporate experience. But I think right now, the place I find myself and the place I think we all find ourselves is the desperate need to be connected and to belong to something bigger, to make a bigger impact, to be part of something that's inside all of us, if we're really honest about that. Just like Black Lives Matter, which is where we are right now. I think in looking back, I heard all these stories. I heard about Breonna Taylor, and I heard about Eric Gardner, and I heard about all these people, Rodney King, and I didn't do anything. I felt it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to make a difference, make an impact. And what I'm realizing about myself through this weird space we all are, is that my purpose, who I am, who I'm put on the earth to be, is a person who connects communities through communication and conversation, connecting communities through conversation and communication. So I need to ask myself, what am I really willing to stand for despite the difficulty? It's going to get hard. Of course it's going to get hard. It's going to get messy and upsetting and difficult, and it's going to push buttons in me. What am I willing to stand for? And that's where I find myself right now. It feels to me like a tipping point. Like we're at a place where if enough of us get together and have these conversations about things that really matter and things that want to move us forward, instead of keeping us stuck and scared and worried and whatever, fear, love is going to win, everybody. Love is going to win. Here's my shirt. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. And I think for me, and I say think because I get in my head about things, and then I get all reasonable about things instead of just allowing myself to believe that the possibility exists for something I don't know how to get to. Yet that possibility is where I'm energized. And that possibility of not knowing how it's going to be is kind of where I feel I can shine. And I know other people can too. And that's where I think all of us need to examine ourselves, our past, what we've done in the past, and let it go. Our past can define us for sure, but it can also hold us back. And that can be a collective past. It can be what I did yesterday. If we can always be supporting each other in moving forward, and really it's going to be the difference between moving forward in love or moving forward in fear. Even if we move forward, if we move forward in fear, we're not really moving forward. Things are revolving and coming back around, and I'm not committed to that. So if you're interested in coming together in the messiness without knowing exactly what the path is going to look like, we're looking for you in our Get Real Circle. I know at some point it's going to turn into something that will be a more concrete. Right now it's not that yet. We have over 800 people in our circle right now. We're having conversations about things that matter. We're having Tuesday night, what we call them orange chair dialogues, and we're having Thursday night drop-in dialogues, just an opportunity for people to connect, because it's important that our voices are heard, not just that we speak, and not that we just say things, but that we're heard, and that together we can develop opportunities to support each other. We don't have to have it figured out. We don't have to have it perfect, because that's where we create in that space that feels loving, feels supportive. And you know, there's such a thing as tough love too. We can give tough love, and we can say things like, that's not acceptable behavior in our circle. That's not what we're about. And we can have rules and standards. We don't have to just accept everything. That's not love always. There's a possibility that exists that's bigger than all of us. And when we all come together, just imagine what that future could look like. So join our circle. Get in touch with me. I'd love to have this conversation. If you're looking for some ideas in your organization to help you get what's inside out, I'd love to help. I don't have the answers, but I have a lot of really transformational questions, and I'd love the opportunity to work with you or your organization if that's something that you're committed to exploring. So join our Get Real Circle and be willing to do what's hard, even if you don't know the how of it. Because if the how is big enough, if the why is big enough, the how will show up. I promise. Thanks, everybody.